shows up. I'm here. That's always a plus, right? I think so. That's all right. I didn't really announce much, so put it out there. But at any rate, we'll give everybody another minute or so, and then we'll see what happens. But we're going to cook all the same, and that's the important thing, really. And we got to eat, right? And I thought we'd do it together. It's really weird to watch myself on video. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now, as a matter of fact. But anyhow, so tonight we're gonna do a Oriental rice. It was a hamburger helper dish that was out like forever ago. Let me mute myself real quick. I can hear myself, which is really weird. But we're doing an Oriental rice dish tonight, and it was a hamburger helper dish that came out forever ago. They don't even make it anymore. And I came across the copycat recipe for it that sounded really good. And this is also one of those dishes that you can put into a jar and keep in a jar in your pantry, ready to go. So that way, all you have to do is just add a couple things to it for a quick weeknight meal. It's kind of like the hamburger helper we did, the stroganoff hamburger helper we did a couple weeks back. I've just become obsessed with these things, which is just crazy. And I don't know why you wouldn't want to. I mean, I make these up. I mean, if nothing else, if they're not a quick meal, let's say weather turns bad, you can't get to the grocery store, things of that nature. These pre-jarred things always come in handy. They just do. We've been doing like hamburger and chicken up for I can't tell you how long now, and it is just hands down something that has saved us time and time again. It, we've been canning and processing and making stuff for meals for probably the last 12 years now, but it was put to the test when the pandemic hit and everybody kind of robbed the grocery stores, so to speak. Although I found it really ironic that when the grocery stores got hit back in the beginning of the pandemic, in the no toilet paper in the U.S. stage of life, that the only things that were left were fruits and vegetables. All the canned stuff was gone. Fruits and vegetables weren't, which is fantastic, beautiful. Um, which worked for us. I mean, we still bought up the fruits and the vegetables because we were able to process them, can them, put them on the shelf, which I think is more beneficial than anything else. Like I said, we do our own hamburger and stuff like that also, but this is a good dry dish that it doesn't take any work. I mean, we're literally gonna put some rice in a jar, and then we'll put all our dry ingredients in a baggie. In this case, because we want to keep our rice and our dry ingredients separate. I mean, you don't have to. It really depends on you, and we'll talk more about why here in a second. But I think it would be really important. Hey guys, I'm glad everybody's stopping in. That's awesome stuff. So if you are just coming in, I just been kind of rambling, but we're going to do an Oriental rice dish tonight, and this is something that you can keep on your shelf as a dry starter. It used to be a hamburger helper dish, and they don't make it anymore. But this is something you can keep on your pantry shelf. It doesn't require processing at all. It just requires you to have a jar, basically. But instead of sitting here and putting it in the jar and all that stuff, we're going to go ahead and make it, and I'll show you why we don't have to put it in the jar. But let me stand up real quick. We'll get over here to the go ahead and get to the oven and or the stovetop and see where what kind of trouble we can get into. If you were wondering how the remodel's coming, I'll show you real quick. Right there we are, and I've got walls up, so to speak, and got all the wiring done. We've got the ceiling's almost done. I am going to go start looking for cabinets tomorrow, but my appliances don't come till next week, It's been a long time since I've remodeled anything. Sorry, that camera angle's bugging me. But it's been a long time since I've remodeled anything, and it really is uh, a process. And a lot of stuff that I've got to remember. Like, we're still waiting on the flooring to show up. We're waiting on the appliances to show up. I've got to finish up the bulkhead or the soffit for the upper cabinets, but we'll get there. I was hoping to have this done by end of April, mid-May, so I could get to work outside because we got the garden to do here in a few weeks. But that's not happening. Hold on for me 1 second. I got to go get the hamburger. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and I always use cast iron, and I know a few of you have mentioned my cast iron and all the cast iron I have hanging on the wall here. I use it all. I have 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 pans, and I use every single one of them, and I use them regularly. So I had at one time somebody asked me to do a video on how I take care of my cast iron, and I can, but I really, I mean, I don't mind doing it at all, but it's going to make a lot of people mad because I don't follow the rules very often, and that's because I do use it daily. I think that most modern day rules for cast iron were done to for people who don't use their cast iron all the time. I don't have a single pan other than cast iron in my house. Pots, a different story. I have stainless steel, but cast iron is all I use for pans. So, and I use them regularly, so I don't always put them on and season them after I'm done cooking them. Sometimes I just slap oil on them, hang them back up after I wash them. Occasionally, I do the cardinal sin and I use soap on. Sometimes I use yeah. I'll use abrasives. I'll use tomato sauce in my cast iron. I have never had a problem with any of that. Dish soap, they'll tell you never to use dish soap on a cast iron. At one time in life when lye was put into soap, that was true. Not so much anymore. But anyhow, so the things we're going to do first is I've got my oven turned or my stovetop turned on. We're rocking it out. I'm going to go ahead and get my hamburger on there, and we're going to start browning it up and crumbling it. And then we can talk about what would go in the jar, which is just some rice. And it's 1 1/4 cup of rice, right? So anybody else out there keep 2 pounds of or 2 gallons of rice in their house? We do. So you want 1 1/4 cups of rice, and I'm just going to throw it in this strainer because you want to rinse your rice, right? That is where somebody got in trouble for Rip Nick Gus. Yes, I can say that.
R.I.P.
Oh, absolutely. Rest in peace, Nick. I am sorry about that. I am sorry to hear about that. I just saw that on there. Absolutely, rest in peace. That is. I am sorry for your loss. That is a rough one. I remember when I lost my mom a few years back. As much as death can hurt, and it does. When I lost my mom, that was devastating. There have been very few things in life that have devastated me more. So absolutely, yeah, absolutely sorry to hear about that. But we are going to, yeah, that's just tragic. I'm sorry to hear about that, my friend. I am sorry to hear about that. So we'll go ahead and get our rice rinsed. That way we can let it drain, right? Because we want to let that drain. Good. And right there's where it varies when you're putting it in the jar. The reason why they tell you to put all the seasonings in a baggie and the rice in the jar separately, you would just simply take your jar, rice in it, take your baggie with the seasonings we're about to add to the hamburger and put it in a baggie and put it in the jar and then seal it up, and so you can wash your rice. Now there are people out there, professional and otherwise, that don't rinse their rice, and it comes down to what do you want to achieve. Yeah, because when you rinse, all you're doing is taking the starch off of your rice. So it can make that happen. So I guess it's completely up to you. I actually read an article on it, but which is kind of neat. So the things that we would want to put in with in our baggies, all dry stuff, and it's really easy. This is probably hands down the easiest meal I've seen yet. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other ingredients other than the hamburger, rice, and water. So you're talking 8 ingredients total. So we'll go ahead and get this browned up. Won't take no time at all, I wouldn't think. Get that warmed up. Now, if you happen to be new to cast iron, you want to always let your cast iron warm up, right? You'll want to let it. You don't want to crank it all the way up. So, like, let's say you get your first cast iron and you throw it on here. Do not crank it all the way up to high, and you can warp it. You gotta let them heat up slowly. Start on a medium low. They go to medium, then medium high, or whatever your desired temp is, and that will help you along. I'm using an 80-20 hamburger, to go with this. But you use whatever hamburger you like. I had found and maybe this has always been there. My daughter Sarah tells me it has a hamburger sausage mix by the pound. Comes in rolls. I actually bought some because it was $1 a pound. You can't argue $1 a pound. Not to beat the band with today's economy, but I'm really hoping things will settle down and prices will start dropping again. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. While I'm thinking about it, don't forget to hit that like button. We are steadily trying to grow our community. We have broken 4,000, which is a blessing and a godsend, so to speak. Never thought that would happen. I guess I did think it would happen, but initially, growing a community wasn't what I wanted to do. I was just simply finding something to pass the time, and it kind of led to this. So they, huh?
I'm out. I love you.
All right, I love you too. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Oh, Sarah, my middle daughter, she's leaving. She came over to her and her fiance Roy, my Roy toy. They came over to hang out with Abby for a little while. It's always a good time when they come over. Sarah's like Abby's best friend, which is great. You can't argue it. Having 4 kids is something to keep you occupied, for sure. I started out life, I was never going to have kids, I was never going to get married. Yet somehow managed to get married twice and ended up with 4 children. 4 of the best children I have ever could ask for. And I've spent my entire life working with kids, which is kind of funny. For those that don't know a whole lot about me, I've been in the restaurant business for a total of 30 of the 40 years I've been in the workforce. Almost 40 years I've been in the workforce. I spent the first 10 years of my youth working young career in hamburgers, working fast food, and then I got out, sporting down. I was never going to go back into restaurant again at all. It was a very demanding job. It was crazy. It was killing me, and I got out. And then about 4 years later, I got right back in with pizza. With Donato's here in Ohio, and I went in to give it. My brother works for him. Most of my family worked for him throughout the years, but I I went in, was going to give it 30 days to see if it's something I really wanted to get back into, and I am now in my 21st year of managing restaurants with Donato's. And I'm down to part time now. I also own a bakery, oddly enough, named Mr. Smith's Kitchen. And then we've got YouTube. I stay home through the week now to hang out with Abby, and take care of her. Chris works full time, and and we have fun. It keeps us busy. I'm constantly doing something. Constantly. All right, so our hamburger is brown. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna throw in all our seasonings that we would normally put into the baggie, right? And then next week when I do my dinner video, I will quickly show you everything that we did in the form of that. That way you can kind of see it. But I want to try it before I make up a bunch of these. Because what if I make up a bunch of these and we don't like it, right? That would be horrible. So the first thing we would put in our baggie, so to speak, will be 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. And in this case, I'm using granules. I can't tell you the last time I actually used garlic powder for anything. I've been using granules since day one. I did not drain the grease off of this either. There's not a whole lot of grease in there, but if you were so inclined, you may most certainly drain the grease. That's the beauty of cooking. You can customize this to do it how you want. I'm putting in 1 teaspoon of onion powder. It's not like with baking. Baking is crazy because you can, you kind of have to follow a certain set of rules, kinda, for the most part. But with cooking, unless you're making something really specific, you make it how you like to make it. Turn it down a little bit. And now I'm going to add, we got a teaspoon of our garlic and a teaspoon of our onion. I'm adding a half a teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of pepper. Now remember, this is all stuff that would go into your baggie. Right? The root beer casserole was fantastic. Hi Josh, how are you, buddy? Niles is like my best buddy in the whole wide world. I mean, I have several buddies, but he's like my best buddy. I talk to him all the time. Can't argue him not one bit. So we got our half teaspoon each of salt and pepper, and that'd be 2 grams each on those. The granules would be, or the garlic would be 3 grams, and the onion would be 3 grams also. And then I've got 1 packet of onion soup mix. Now you got to be careful. I learned this a couple weeks back. I don't even remember now what I was making, but depending on whose onion soup mix you buy will depend on how much is in it. You want something that's right around at least 3 tablespoons, or 45 grams ish of onion soup mix. I have found that the off-brand, the store brands, have less in them, and that's about what you're looking for. You want 3 tablespoons worth at any rate, or 1 onion pack. Now, I am going to throw in an option, and that's because we like ginger, and I think it needs that flavor, is a 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger. And like I said, all this stuff is stuff that would go into the little baggie for the pre-make, right? So now all we have to do, last thing we're going to put in here is a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. Anybody else buy industrial bottles of stuff? I buy industrial bottles and industrial bags of things. Like my rice, my rice is in a 2-gallon bucket. And my flour, when I buy flour and sugar, granted, we run a bakery out of the house. I do, 25-pound bags, pretty much on the regular. And I go through it, quickly. So now we got that in there. We're going to give this a good stir up, just like such. And then we have got to add 4 cups of water. So I'll just grab a quart jar here. Quart jars are the handiest thing ever. Now I wouldn't recommend using a quart jar to measure out if you were baking, but for cooking, I think it goes swell. Sorry, I have to look over occasionally and see if anybody's commented. My comment lady, Chris, is not out here with me. So we'll go ahead and get that 4 cups in there, and then we'll take the rice that we rinsed. It's had time to soak and dry, or sit and dry. Soak and dry. That made no sense, right? Soak and dry. This is why we can't have nice things, right? doing this live, you'll get to see how many times I forget stuff. Because I just realized that I forgot the lid. That's sitting in our office. So since we've been remodeling, my kitchen is in like 6 different places. But we're going to bring this up to a boil before we put a lid on. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it up. And then once it starts to boil, lid down to a simmer, like we're making rice. But
I'll get the lid.
thank you. Yeah, since we started remodeling, we have had everything's in like 8 different places. You know, I've got some stuff right here, but yeah, realistically, all I have kitchen-wise here is a handful of cabinets. Right behind you is my back door, so we don't have a whole lot going on there. All my other cabinets are gone. They were in the dining room. When my house was built in 1946, people shop differently, people cook differently. You had pretty much a one-income household for the most part. Not all together, thank you.
Yeah.
Not all together, but you know, you still had the war had just ended, right? World War II had just ended when my house was built. So you had women that were just entering the workforce. Some of them went back home to be stay-at-home wives, moms, whatnot, since their husbands came home, boyfriends. Others stayed in the workforce, which started the 2-income household. You know, but this house was basically set up for a 1-family income for somebody to stay home. When I showed you earlier, like right over here, where see where that wood is right there, that there was a wall there. The kitchen was literally 6 foot this way and 10 foot this way, and that's all you had. And then along this wall, you had a giant buffet, which also, you know, I mean, it held all your dishes, your silverware. I also kept some dry goods in it, but you went to the store daily, almost daily, if not every other day, to take care of things. So you didn't need a whole lot of space, and there weren't nearly the gadgets we have now. You know, we've got our Ninja 11-in-1, the air fryer. You know, we've got slow cookers, and you know, just all kinds of stuff. I've got, you know, 8 different ways to use a cast iron skillet. But then you didn't have all that, so you got to, you know, so you didn't need as much room. Now, I mean, I probably don't need as much room, so to speak. All right, so now we're boiling. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna turn that down to the lowest setting I can get without it being on low. So about 1 to 2. We'll go ahead and put a lid on that. We're gonna let this cook for about 15-20 minutes. Turn it down a little bit more, but we just want it to simmer. We're just cooking the rice. But now, I mean, not well. I guess it depends on who you are, because nowadays, I mean, you could still get away with that same size kitchen, and I base that on when the pandemic happened. Restaurants stayed open because 51% of the U.S. population didn't cook. They relied on restaurants to eat daily. Which was in my mind was just mind-boggling. You know, so I kind of, that's part of the reason why I brought my channel back was, okay, let's show people how to cook. You know, you'll hear people say that my videos go very long, and sometimes they do. I do get long-winded, but I'm old and I've earned that right. But for the most part, my videos are long. And I talk because I want you to understand what goes on. I want you to understand why things happen. That's important. That's very important. That way you can. Okay, are you there? My live stream just died. There it goes. All right. Not sure what happened, but my live stream just cut out, which is okay. And I don't know where I was, but that's all right. Yeah, I just want everybody to be self-efficient. I know this smells fantastic. Yeah, hands down, just fantastic. Sorry, I'm looking at the clouds outside. It has been just thunder and lightning and heavy rain off and on all day. I mean, it'll be sunny out, and then all of a sudden, it is like intense storms for 15 minutes, and then back to sunny skies. And I've got all my tomato plants and pepper plants outside. Uh, well, I mean, they're in the garage with the garage doors open, so that way they can, breathe, get that fresh air and real sunlight. Because, like I said, only got a couple weeks, and we will be in gardening mode. Storm semester. Oh yeah, dude, the storms were crazy here, just crazy. It was raining and wind had blowing hard enough. It went sideways. And the last time they came through, a week or so ago, I had to blame my friend Charlotte on it. Every time she posts something from Indiana talking about storms, we get hit with big old storm. So I had to give her what for in house, so to speak. And I'm wearing red again. She said all I needed was a red shirt, and I could pretty much be Santa Claus. This Charlotte's a great person, bless her heart. And I most certainly I took that as the ultimate compliment. Santa Claus is a great man. I would dearly love to be Santa Claus. I don't think I could fill his shoes though. Never know. Never know. I've decided I'm not shaving. I'm going to let it grow a little bit longer. That way, when next year comes, if somebody's in need of a Santa, I can be there for them. And that'd be awesome. Yeah, that way, the real Santa can stay up at the workshop and make toys. Which, I never get my toys anymore. I must be bad. Not really going to stir this. Not going to mess with it. I just keep an eye on it. Hands down. Yeah. So this is like the boring part of it. You guys have any questions other than Niles? No, I'm just kidding, Niles. You are more than welcome to ask most questions. That way we can get her going. So I found out that we ordered our appliances back in March and beginning of March, and they are not going to be here until this Tuesday, as a matter of fact. About the same time, I have to go deliver a big old sheet cake, but they're going to be showing up, and it's been 2 months, a little over 2 months, and we're like, wow, and it was the stove. The stove was the holdup. And then we found out the reason why was because when the tariffs were announced, there was a huge boom in appliance sales in the U.S., so much so that we basically ran out of surplus, which I find amazing. So I had to wait until mine got here, but I can't wait till it arrives. I'm not gonna be able to use it right away, which is kind of a bummer. It's like getting a birthday gift and you open it up and you find out you're not gonna be able to use it for like another month. Because with the oven, I still have to get the gas line ran. That's something I can do it myself. I have the knowledge to. I don't trust myself to do it, so I need to find a good plumber that can come in and do it. Because that's the only thing I can't do myself. I ran all my own plumbing, my water lines and my drains. They're all set and ready to go. Electrical is all done and it's to code, along with my water. But gas, I just don't trust myself at all to do that. And like I said, it's not that I don't know how. I just don't trust myself to. The last thing I want to do is blow myself up. A breaker going off, tripping because I did something wrong is one thing. Leaky water, that's something else. But gas is no joke, so I'd much rather just run without that. I'm so tempted to stir this, and I know I don't need to. So don't stir, just leave the lid on it and let it go the 20 minutes, which I forgot to set the timer. Like I said, you guys get to see me at my finest. This is usually how I cook on a regular weeknight. I just kind of sit and I'll get the idiot box here and watch something on YouTube. I was just watching a movie with Lou Donovan Phillips in it right before we went live. Great movie. I couldn't tell you the name of it, but it was a really good movie. He plays a bad guy, which is really weird. I don't think I've ever seen him play a bad guy. I don't know. But anyhow, so next week, I think after we get done with getting the garden planted, because I've got it pretty much cleaned up. I mean, as some of you may know, I've gone every other week, right? As far as putting videos out. Although this week, and we may keep doing this going forward, but I need something steady. I mean, not only for you guys and the algorithm, but for myself. Um, and this would be something maybe you guys could answer, whether it be comments on a rewatch or in the live. Um, do you guys like the live stream thought? You know, so do I do a live stream every other week with, let's say, a canning video like I did yesterday was the cream of anything um, video, which if you haven't checked that out, check it out because that is some awesome stuff, and you can there's so much you can do with it. You know, because you can make it cream of, I mean, anything, whatever you want. There's well, pick a subject: shrimp, chicken, mushroom, celery, potato, whatever. Um, it's the base for all of those. Uh, but would you prefer me do like uh, a prep style video and then a live stream, and then on the opposing week do my traditional dinner and dessert videos, or do you just want me dinner and dessert with the occasional extra um, prepping video? You know, whether it be canning or something for the dry prep for the pantry, or you know, something like that. Yeah, I guess it'll be up to you. I mean, business is still booming, or at least steadily improving and growing with the bakery, but I still think I can manage to push out a full set of videos. I feel like I'm not doing my job if I don't. This last couple of months has been really weird. Now, granted, you know, between trips to the hospital, being sick, surgeries, you know, still trying to keep the bakery going and everything else, it has made for a very busy and interesting time that wore me out. I mean, that's no lie. For a minute, I was tuckered out, but now not so bad. You know, I've gotten things. We're on the downhill slope, so to speak, with the kitchen. I'm really excited. Hey, the kitchen is going to be a minute. We probably won't be cooking out of it until fall. Realistically, it might take me most of the summer to get the kitchen to where we want it, but I've got it pretty solid head start. You know, I got the insulations in the walls. The walls are up. The ceiling's pretty much done. So we're down to just a handful of things, but they're a handful of big things. And then we're gonna move and we're gonna start the outside also. We're gonna finish up the patio, and that I'm really excited about. If we get the patio finished up, which is only putting up some the rest of the fencing around it and the roof, we're putting a tin roof on it. I can start cooking outside too, and that's gonna be fun. Yeah, because I've got we've got our grill. I've got a standard Weber grill like they've been making since the 40s, and I use it for pretty much everything. I learned that one winter my stove broke and I couldn't afford to have it fixed, and I cooked off of my Weber grill for a million years. Um, that would be funny. Yeah, hey, that would be funny. Would you like those hot dogs to not be cooked or cooked? That's the real question. Yeah, I think raw would be kind of gross. We should cook them, but only if you come with me. Yeah, it's no different than the video you sent me of the guy who was long distance throwing things into that guy's shopping cart to where he put them when he got to the counter. He was like, I didn't put any of this. I don't need any of this stuff. That was quite humorous. Um, we watched some of the funniest stuff. Funniest stuff. That shrimp casserole, the lasagna. Is that what you're talking about, Chris? Um, that was amazing, and I do want to do that next week. My wife Sarah and Roy had asked about that, and I think that is going to be next week's dinner video. This shrimp lasagna that we made was amazing. The only thing that, in my opinion, that was more amazing was the garlic bread I made to go with it. So, and we can make both. It's like the quickest dish in all the world. It's a shrimp scampi done in lasagna form. Awesome, awesome, awesome. and the lasagna and the I don't even know. It would leave you speechless how good this garlic bread is, and it's just three ingredients: bread, butter, and roasted garlic. But holy cow, yeah, what a way to go! Yeah, that'll be um, absolutely to die for. Ooh, 8 minutes left, kids. 8 minutes. Um, I mean, we still have to let it cool, even after it's done. I don't know, Chris, which if you don't know is my better half. She will eat things blazing hot, and I don't. I can't do it. Not ever can I do it. Um, I am one of those that that has to have my stuff at not room temperature, but at least so it's not going to melt my face and I can taste the flavors. Yeah. Um, oh, stop. Me and Chris have been together for a long time. Yeah. By today's standards, we've probably been married 3 times. We've been together for 20 years. 23 years? 24 years. 24 years. And it's been a hoot. It's been a good time. I will probably do 24 more. Yeah, as long as she keeps listening to me. But anyhow, what do you guys think? What do you know? Um, I mean, I know me and Niles are going to go reverse pickpocket hot dogs with people. Are we going to do that at the grocery store, the park, the mall? Any of that would be fun, I think. I don't know. Do any of you guys, especially my older friends, you guys still do goofy stuff? Go and do goofy stuff? Um, I don't like I used to, not by any means. Um, admire that we can do it after work. It'll be a blast. We work right next to a Meyer grocery store. It'll be fun until they call the cops on us. We live in kind of one of those. Well, we work in one of those towns where they will call the cops in a heartbeat, which is good. I mean, for the most part, but not when you're trying to put hot dogs in people's pockets. Yeah, all the same. Um, but I find myself as I get older wanting to stay home more. Society bugs me a little bit when it's busy. I went to the grocery store Saturday, and I try never to go to the store on the weekends, mostly because I work on the weekends. Um, and holy cow, was it busy! I don't. I mean, normally I go to the grocery store at 6 in the morning on a Tuesday. On a Tuesday, there's nobody there. It's me, two cashiers, and like three old ladies. Um, and Saturday morning to mid afternoon, crazy. I don't ever want to experience that again as long as I live. Way too many people. Yeah, hands down. Ooh, we're getting there. We are getting there. Where's my drink? I'm thirsty. So my timer, you keep hearing it go off. Uh, when it gets to 10 minutes, it'll let me know. When it hits 5 minutes, it lets me know. And then the last warning bell will be when it actually is done. Um, but and if you guys like the live streams and want me to keep doing them, just let me know. I mean, hey, let me know in the comments or down here in the chat. But yeah, give me. It'd also be good to have some ideas, things that you guys might want to, talk about, do. I mean, do you like the cooking dinner? Do you, is there something else you'd rather see, do, or talk about? I mean, let me know. I'm pretty much open to anything. I know I do. So like I said earlier with the cast iron, I'm sure there are people out there, the true cast iron people, that would throw a fit about the way I do my cast iron, because I don't, every day or every time I use it, I don't put it back on the oven and warm it up and oil it and let it and heat it until it smokes a little and then let it cool down. I mean, I just don't. But and I've been using cast iron for years. I mean, as you can see, I mean, it works, right? Now, I will on occasion. One time, now we've owned this pan here for 6 years, 7 years, and One time I cleaned it completely up when it was first brought to me because it was a little rusty. So we took all the carbon off of it. We oiled it, ran it through the oven a couple times, and never looked back. Um, but I don't every day, every time, you know, put it through the rigors of um, heating it up after I've cleaned it and re-seasoning it. About once every 3 months, I will take all my pans and I'll put, and this is the only time I use seed oil. Seed oil is not healthy for you if you use a lot of seed oil, grapeseed, and otherwise. They are just not healthy. Um, but I will take grapeseed oil, lightly coat all my pans, and I will put them in the oven at 300 degrees, and I'll let them sit in there for an hour and a half. And then I turn the oven off, and I let them sit in there until the oven cools completely, usually overnight, unless I'm using it. Um, and then but that's it. That's the only extensive seasoning I do. Um, I will occasionally season on the stovetop, and if that's something you would like me to show you how to do, I'll be more than happy to do it. I just want you to know that's not something I do all the time. A lot of times I will just simply wipe the pan out because it's non-stick enough that hardly anything sticks to them. And so most of the time I can get away with just wiping it out with a paper towel, and then I take a rag, a cloth, and I'll put a little bit of oil on them and hang them right back up. That's it. That's all I do. Yeah, we're about to go off. So then that way we can, yeah, but I don't really, you know, like I said, I will use soap on them, and boy, does that make you want to see people go crazy, especially people who are huge on cast iron. Go absolutely nuts. Tell me you use dish soap on your cast iron. Ooh-wee. They will just bite your head off in the comments. But I do. Not all the time, but sometimes. You know, and it doesn't hurt it. That's like they'll tell you to never cook tomato sauce in your cast iron. And to some extent, I agree with that. Some extent. If I am making a spaghetti sauce that I'm starting at 6 o'clock in the morning and letting it cook till 6 o'clock at night, I will not put it on my cast iron. But here's why. Not that I'm afraid that it'll take the coating off, because it will etch the coating, you know, but right, that's what I'm saying. But it will, you know, it will change the flavor of your sauce. Is the problem, because it'll start to eat off all this carbon, right? Because of the acidity in the tomato sauce, and you will have that flavor in your sauce. That's the only reason why I wouldn't recommend it. That's like you will see people who don't want to, that will tell you never to use metal. And I don't. I try very hard to not use metal utensils in my, in my cast iron. Sorry about that. It really threw me off. All right, so our rice is cooked. Right, timer just went off. I went ahead and I just turned it off, as you saw me when I was sitting there talking. And so now we'll just take it and we're just gonna fluff it up a little. And I know there's somebody out there that's saying he said fluff. Stop it. That's all I'm gonna say. And then I am gonna take this off the heat. Yeah, if you're ever wondering, like you'll see me in my videos where I'll say, well, let's let this cool, and then when I come back, like 5 minutes later, well, a second later for you guys, but it's been like 5-10 minutes for me, and I've got my cover already back on the oven or on the stovetop. That's because there is a vent gap in between, so that way, even if this is hot, it won't burn it. It gets air circulating through there. But we are going to let that sit for a minute, because I really don't want to burn my face off at all. Things you could serve with this? I don't really. A nice salad, maybe. Anything that involves hamburger helper, I think just needs bread and butter myself. But I don't know, Chris, what would you serve with this? Yeah, if you were making this. Yeah, I'm sure she'll say down there in the comments. Yeah, but like I said, I think bread and butter and a salad goes good with everything, meal wise for the most part. And you can always vary the bread. You can always vary the salad, which you put in it, right? Um, bread and butter, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just bread and butter. Um, you could do a nice salad with it, I suppose. Or I mean, if you really wanted to, throw some egg rolls in the oven. Get you some frozen egg rolls. Um, yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. You could throw this on a plate and maybe do some broccoli up, um, or some cauliflower, carrots, yeah, corn. Yeah, see, I I could do that. I could burn my mouth. Here's the funny part. For the most part, I mean, like right now, I could eat this because my teeth aren't real, so there's plastic up there that keeps me from burning the roof of my mouth. And only one time have I ever burnt my tongue. And believe me, that's no fun. But when you have a cover on the roof of your mouth, it makes it easy to eat spicy. It makes it easy to eat hot. Doesn't mean you should though, right? And I know people think it's funny, but I'm not going to do that because, I mean, yeah, it wouldn't be funny on my end, but it'd be funny to watch somebody else do it, right? I think so. Um, right, I can't feel it. That's yeah, which makes it great. Uh, oh, I do have a bowl. Haha, I was just sitting there thinking, wait a minute, I don't have a bowl. But I do. I have a lovely glass bowl provided by Anchor Hocking. I love their stuff. Yeah, we have some Tupperware stuff, but most of the stuff I own for storage is glass. I, I'm not sure what got me on that kick exactly, but um, it's been well worth the investment. I don't seem to go through them as quickly. Like I, I like Ziploc containers, things like that, Rubbermaid containers, but it seems like we go through them quickly. Whether it be you use it in the microwave a few times and it bubbles through, or you lose it, or it cracks, or whatever. These don't really crack. The only way you're cracking them is if you drop them or slam them down. But even that takes work. Hands down takes work. So we just buy glass. Now I have lately, along with getting into the dry prep, the dry mixes for the pantry, like this stuff here. They which after this uploads and I'm able to go in and edit, I'll put the recipe for this down below so that way you'll know, you'll have it if you would like it. But I have been into doing pre-doing up breakfasts, um, and freezing them. My first ones were smoked sausage with scrambled eggs and hash browns, which then I put them in portioning containers and stuck them in the deep freeze. And then just yesterday, day before, I did up pancakes and bacon. Tomorrow I'm going to do French toast and sausage and put those in containers and put them out there. That way we have a good breakfast to start the day with that isn't packed full of preservatives because we bought it from the freezer out. That's one of my biggest things. I don't know if you can see that, but it's still steaming pretty solid. Um, I try to stay away from preservatives. So there are two things I look for when I go to can something. Is it going to save me money, or is it going to be better for you? Because sometimes it's not always cheaper. Like the mandarin oranges that I did, which if you didn't see my post, check out the post on my page, on my YouTube page. I did another batch with this citric, oh my gosh, pectin that was recommended. It's all natural. That made a world of difference on the taste. Those oranges were so sweet, but um, I don't. Those oranges, it's probably about the same price. If you factor in the time, it probably costs more, but I know what's in those. And I can feed them to my kids and my grandkids, and yeah. Here is the stuff I was using. Right there. Not that I'm sponsored by them by any means, but it's a pectin enzyme. It's all natural. It's the exact same pectin that's in your fruits.
It made it so much better.
Right, and it did. It made it so much. It took away all the bitterness because I was able to get all the rind off of them. The only thing it had was a little more time because you gotta let them sit in the water with a little bit of this stuff in it for 8 to 12 hours. So I just let it sit overnight and did them the next day. Awesome stuff. But let me let's see how this tastes. Yeah, hands down. It has been fun cooking with you guys, for sure. And I would like to do this again soon. I hope. Yeah, but next week will be regular videos, a dessert and a dinner. And like I said, we're gonna do the shrimp scampi lasagna for the dinner. Don't know about dessert yet. I got a couple different ideas running through my head. That's pretty solid. Um, that's really good. It tastes just like the Oriental rice meal that from back in the day. I remember this dish. I remember when Hamburger Helper made this, and this really does taste just like it. And it's been, God, better have it 30 years since I've had it, but that is a memory and a half right there. Mm. Mm-mm. That's really good. It's really good. A solid bread and butter and some vegetables would go well with this. Broccoli would go great even if you just cut it up and added it to it. That would be really good. That's amazing. Um, Go team! I will be making up a bunch of these, and probably putting a picture of it on the on the community page here on YouTube. I try very hard to get onto Facebook and put things on Instagram, um, but I'm not real good at it. Now, as far as the business page goes, yeah, I have my daughter-in-law who has been doing a wonderful job of helping me keep up on my social media and our new website. Well, it's not really new. It's been around for about a year. Just hasn't had a whole lot going on with it until recently. My son has actually taken over that department along with a couple other little things he's helping me with, um, and it's come a long ways, hands down. If you get a chance, check it out. It's just mrsmithskitchen.com, and you'll see our logo there, and you'll be steered in the right direction. It absolutely tickles me that this little bakery that never was going to be is starting to become a family business. That is absolutely just the most amazing thing ever, and it makes me proud. That means that yeah, it could keep going, and if the time comes that I decide I actually want to quit working, which will probably never happen, but then my son could easily take over it, and it would still be Mr. Smith's Kitchen. My grandson could take over, and it would still be Mr. Smith's Kitchen. Awesome. Which my grandkids, adorable. Someday you'll get to see them. Maybe we'll shoot a live, or we'll do a live next time we're out at Brian's house. That's my son, and you guys will get to meet Anthony or Asteria if we're down south. My kids decided they were going to move as far away from me as possible, and I have to drive hours to see either of them, which is just amazing. Well, hi, Miss Mills. How are you? I'm so happy to see you. I feel like I haven't talked to you in ages. Me and your cohort in crime are going to go reverse pickpocket people with hot dogs. It's going to be fun. You should come. It'll be good times. We'll be at the Meyer. We might do it this weekend. You never know. But all the same, you guys need to try. You guys need to try this dish. It's quick. It's easy. If you are trying to introduce somebody into, you're gonna have to go. Hands down, have to go. It will be so much fun. It'll be right up your alley. Much like Niles and myself, we can cause mischief, and it'll be fun mischief, and not like go to prison mischief. And the world needs more mischief like that. But this dish, this is something. Let's say you're new to cooking. Let's say you have kids or grandkids that you want to teach how to cook. I'll bring you some. I'll be up because I'm sure we won't eat all of that. That's a lot. I'm dieting. I got to lose like 35 pounds. I'm a hot mess. I somehow gained since my surgery. I gained over 20 pounds in about a month, and I'm not sure how. But so I won't be eating all of this. This will probably be what I eat I really have to watch my intake. And you know, getting old is horrible, but let me know if you do. This would be a good one, a good starter dish. If you have kids or grandkids that you know, or you're just learning how to cook yourself, you want something that will be easy to make and successful. Um, Boom, right here. This is a great way to start. You know, almost all. If you're on my channel with any regularity, most of the stuff I make is really easy to make. I don't do fancy real well. I don't do complicated real well. Baking's a different story, but cooking wise, you know, I try to steer away from that. I want you to be full. I want a smile on your face. I want it to stick to your ribs. I want you to be content and happy, and I want you to be able to invite friends over, and the meal be so good that it leads to conversation and an evening of, you know, reminding each other that we're all here to get along and have a good time, really, you know, without having to spend hours in the kitchen to do it. So anyhow, all right, yes ma'am, I was just thinking of that. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We have been about an hour, but if this is something you would like to see us do again, you know, hang out and cook, I can even tell you what the ingredients are going to be well ahead of the time, and we can cook together if you'd like. I think that would be fun. I've seen other YouTubers do it. Always maybe a little nervous to think about it, but I'm game to give it a try if you are. So let me get this down to get this over to the table with the little bit of spot I have cleared off for it. And then that way we can all eat. But thank you for stopping by. You know, and like I say at the end of all my videos, you know, I love you, and I love you very much, and I do mean that. I never take you guys for granted, time or otherwise. That's something that you give me, you can never get back, and I think that's awesome. And make sure you tell somebody else you love them too. They may need to hear it, especially nowadays. Things get crazy, and I know it's good to hear I love you. So let's go put a smile on their face. Go make this for somebody and have them smile. Meanwhile, Abby's going to do a little tap dancing for us in her heels, and we're going to eat some supper. So until next week, I love you, and I will see you guys then. Thanks for stopping by, and I will talk to you later.